So this won't be a divisive subject. Is Goku a Mary Sue?
Dad, Kakarot was sent to this world with a simple mission not long after he was born, to destroy every human being on the planet.
What? That's enough! Even if it is true and I'm some kind of alien from another planet, my name is Goku, and this is my home. And you're not welcome here!
Past Goku is one of us now. In fact, he's a better human being than any of us.
He saved the entire world before. Would an alien warrior do that? I don't think so.
First, we've got to define what a Mary Sue is. To Wikipedia! A Mary Sue is an idealized or seemingly perfect fictional character. Often this character is recognized as an author insert or wish fulfillment. They can usually perform better at tasks than should be possible given their amount of training or their experience. So, with that definition, does this apply to Goku? I've heard a lot of debate on this subject, and I've actually been on both sides of it myself, so I think we need to sit down with Goku's fights and actions throughout the series and see where he shines and where he falls flat. Now, I'm excluding Dragon Ball as Goku is a child here, thus it's kinda hard to gauge if he's overpowered or not. However, in DBZ, Goku is an adult, fighting other adults as a competent and fully fledged warrior. So let's sit down with the series and see, is Goku a Mary Sue? Or the male equivalent, Gary Stu, yada yada yada, though I'm gonna stick with Mary Sue for this video. So, DBZ opens with the introduction of Raditz, Goku's brother. We find out Goku is an alien. Big twist. And he and Piccolo get thoroughly slapped by Raditz. I mean, they pretty much get utterly beaten. Here's where we run into an odd dichotomy of Goku as a Mary Sue and Goku as a not Mary Sue. Let me explain. We find out that Goku's an alien, one of the few of his race, and he's likely stronger than all of his peers because of it. However, simultaneously, he's killed by Raditz, who's stronger than anyone on Earth. So Goku is a member of this race, making him special, little Mary Sue-ish, that could thrash all the Z-Fighters. But on the flip side is decidedly beaten. Is that Mary Sue-ish or not? I'm leaning no, not Mary Sue-ish in this scenario, because Goku is beaten by an enemy who he couldn't even visibly damage. Both Piccolo and his son had to step in to help him, and he had to exploit one of Raditz's weaknesses to even fight him. So, not a Mary Sue, at least in this instance. Moving on, all of the Z-Fighters train, and likewise Goku trains in the afterlife. Now Goku is with King Kai, and training under a deity figure, while the others are training on Earth. Once the Saiyans arrive, they tear up Goku's friends, again emphasizing how naturally strong Saiyans are. It's only after Goku shows up that they stand any chance at all, as Goku quickly humiliates Nappa. I mean, he beats this dude like a child. This establishes Goku as stronger than all his comrades put together. Not only stronger, but vastly stronger. Nappa was able to defeat all the Z-Fighters in a row. In fact, Yamcha gets killed by one of Nappa's minions. A minion of a minion. But again, Goku gets beaten by Vegeta. So, he's even more powerful than Nappa. So, while Goku loses, he's, well, way stronger than any of the other Z-Fighters by a wide margin. And this is where the story starts to turn from Goku getting beaten to Goku almost never losing in a straight fight. I think the other major issue is the gap of power that grows between Goku and his peers, but we'll look into that as we go forward. So, we'll continue into the Namek arc. Vegeta, Krillin, Gohan, and Bulma show up on Namek only to find out that the ruthless overlord Frieza is on the planet, and going after the very Dragon Balls they're looking for. So, Vegeta reveals that every time a Saiyan is pushed to the point of death, or suffers great damage, they grow much stronger. This is a very, very hard ability to balance within the context of Dragon Ball Z. I think that in many ways, this is the major problem with the outrageously strong characters in the show all being Saiyans. Basically, unless a Saiyan dies, he never really loses a fight, because he'll just come back and beat his previously unbeatable opponent. Now, I don't think this necessarily makes Goku a default Mary Sue for two reasons. One, the power is applied to himself and every other Saiyan ever, so it's not especially special, but it is still pretty special. Two, Goku has to grit through a battle and lose just to gain the boost. Most of the time. And that most of the time is where I start to take issue. But let's continue with the Namek Saga. So, Goku takes to training in 100 times gravity, while Vegeta does most of the actual heavy lifting as far as the action and combat are concerned. After a number of wins and losses against Frieza's men, Vegeta, Krillin, and Gohan team up only to find out that there's a new threat, the Ginyu Force. The Ginyu send Recoome at the group, and they are annihilated. Vegeta puts up a decent fight, but ultimately they're waiting for Goku to rescue them. Again. And, identical to the Nappa fight, Goku comes on the scene after specialized training that no one else gets, and destroys Recoome, Jace, and Birder. Now this is where the similarities between the Saiyan Saga and the Namek Saga end. Here, Goku goes on to beat Ginyu, unlike the Saiyan Saga where he lost to Vegeta. In fact, Goku is so strong that Ginyu is terrified at the prospect of even fighting him. So Ginyu falls back on his body switching technique. Now the events of Goku's body switch are very important. We're going to take them step by step because I need to dissect them. Goku can easily defeat Captain Ginyu. In fact, it's kinda sad. But then, Captain Ginyu switches bodies with Goku to gain more power. The only problem is he doesn't know how to use Goku's body, so it's even weaker than he was as Ginyu in his original body. This leads the Z-Fighters to being able to defeat him, and Goku being knocked unconscious. Now, this looks like a defeat, but it's not. Goku's basically tricked. He messed up and let himself get caught by a move that's basically circumventing the fight. On top of that, the author is so concerned with Goku being perceived as stronger than everyone else that he makes Captain Ginyu weaker in Goku's body. That way, Goku can get defeated in combat and gain a Saiyan power-up without actually being defeated in combat. You see how that slight trick of hand makes it look like Goku loses, but he actually didn't, and he gets the power-up from it? Then he goes on to return even stronger, while never tasting true defeat as a character. This is where we start to question the Mary Sue nature of Goku. He's losing based on technicalities, not on fighting techniques, and thus he remains stronger than anyone else no matter what. However, the reason I'm not willing to put the Mary Sue label just yet is that realistically, Piccolo or one of the smarter fighters would probably have avoided Ginyu's trick. Goku is physically perfect, but he's also kind of an idiot, so he retains some flaws. Going forward in the story, Gohan, Krillin, Vegeta, and Piccolo get a number of power-ups and take on Frieza. Each of them is able to fight Frieza in various forms, however, when he transforms into his final form, the group is defeated handily. Now, thank King Kai that Goku shows up to save the day, again, for the third time now. This is starting to become a troubling pattern, DBZ. Goku gives Frieza a decent fight, but ultimately even the Spirit Bomb can't beat him. So Frieza kills Krillin, triggering Goku to gain the once-in-a-thousand-years superpower that is the form of the Super Saiyan. And from most data that I read, this makes Goku 50 times stronger than he was before. Yeah, that's starting to look a little pretty Mary Sue right there. On top of that, after Goku defeats Frieza, he gets a Zenkai boost, or those Saiyan power-ups that we were talking about. So now he is more than 50 times stronger than any of the other Z fighters by definition. This leaves everyone in the dust. Nobody but Piccolo or Vegeta could even touch Goku with a 10-foot pole. However, that doesn't mean that Goku will stay this strong, or more valuable than any of the other characters, right? Let's continue and find out. We get into the Android Saga, and Trunks arrives, a Super Saiyan from the future who's the bastard son of Vegeta and Bulma. And Frieza comes back! Oh no, and Trunks handles him with ease! Okay, maybe this character can compete with Goku. I mean, he's a Super Saiyan, and he's, defeating an upgraded form of Frieza. Goku literally beats Trunks with one finger. He powers up his finger, and he blocks the sword Trunks used to cut Frieza into pieces. Mary Sue... That is a little bit silly, though. Then, Trunks informs Goku that androids are coming, and that they killed all the Z fighters in an alternate timeline. But wait, who did they not kill Goku, he dies of a heart disease, because Goku could never lose in a fight in the narrative. Now, we're going to take a moment here and just analyze something. Of course, this is a bit of headcanon, and I'll be corrected by all the people that watch anime to death and yada yada yada, but correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't 17 and 18 kill Goku in a fight as he is returning on Earth after defeating Frieza? I'm just saying, the idea behind the androids is that they never tire, and both are stronger than Vegeta or Trunks as Super Saiyans. They could probably take them both at one time as a single fighter. So, couldn't they have just killed Goku in the alternate timeline with the rest of the guys? Is Goku so much stronger than Vegeta, who was beaten by Android 18, that he could take both 18 and 17? Then why wasn't Goku just killed with the rest of them? I think this is where the author doesn't want his favored character to look weak. But there's really no reason to assume that Goku would win the fight. On top of that, Trunks says the heart disease was an epidemic, meaning it's a human heart disease. It just seems like bad writing that it would even affect Goku at all. You know, being that he's an alien and everything. The heart disease idea definitely smells like a cop-out to keep Goku unbeatable. Regardless, the saga continues as the heart disease puts Goku out of commission, so he can't help the others. Again, P.S. He'll get another Zenkai boost from having heart disease. Wink wink! This way, everyone can fight and lose while we wait for our hero to return from his hiatus. Vegeta, Trunks, Piccolo, Tien Shinhan all get thoroughly beaten down by the bad guys while we wait for Goku to regain health and train to become stronger. And again, Goku, while being passed up by the others while he's off screen, is always the strongest when he's actually fighting. But, let me make this point. Vegeta is stronger than Goku for a brief period of time. Trunks and Piccolo are too. The mantle is actually passed around due to the time chamber training and Piccolo's fusion with Kami. The humans are still worthless though, but, you know, whatever. So Goku isn't always the best. He's only the best when he's up to bat. So we have Cell come onto the scene, absorb the androids, and become the ultimate plot device. I mean life form. I mean bad guy. He beats Piccolo, Vegeta, Trunks, and good lord Krillin. Thought we may have gotten through a saga without beating down the little guy, but that's just not happening, I guess. Cell holds a tournament and all the Z-Fighters come to be spectators, while the savior of the world, Goku, returns to fight Cell. But Goku doesn't win. Now, he doesn't get beaten either. We'll never see Goku get curve stomped like Vegeta or Piccolo. He willingly gives up and sends in Gohan because he admits he can't defeat Cell. This is the first opponent we've seen that Goku can't beat since Vegeta, all the way back in the Saiyan saga. So this is a huge moment and needs to be noted hard against him being a Mary Sue. Now, Gohan beats Cell, but in his arrogance, he lets Cell live long enough to self-destruct, threatening to destroy the world. Thus, Goku being the only person who possesses the instant transmission technique, another technique he got under special circumstances that no one else got because he fought Frieza and then randomly hit a planet in the middle of space that could teach it to him, must step in to nobly sacrifice himself to save his son and the world. So, Goku doesn't beat Cell, but without him, Cell would have killed everyone. So again, Goku is the only one that can save the day. What a shocker. Cell returns to life and comes back, only to be defeated by Gohan again in a Kamehameha duel. Hopefully this time we won't have to shoehorn Goku in for he's a spirit. Goku's a spirit. We need Goku as a spirit to help his son prevail. My lord, just let somebody beat the main bad guy without Goku stepping into their spotlight. I mean, he's dead for Christ's sake, or King Kai's sake, or Kami's sake, and he won't get out of the story for like 2 seconds. But this brings up an interesting point. I mean, we could go through the whole Buu saga and Super saga, but the results are pretty similar. I mean, he's dead, and he won't even get out of the story for 2 seconds. But this brings up an interesting point. I mean, on a sideline, we could go through the whole Buu saga and Super, but the results are similar. Now, Super I'm a little less familiar with, so maybe there needs to be some corrections there. Let me know in the comments if any of this changes. Buu is stronger than anyone at most points in the series. However, Goku is the only one with the Spirit Bomb, so he has to deliver the killing blow to Buu. Goku gets Super Saiyan God form to fight Beerus, and even though he loses, he isn't humiliated. He fights Frieza, but instead of losing, he lets his guard down and gets sucker punched by a little laser. So, what can we say about Goku? Is he really a Mary Sue or not? Well, on one side, he has to be, because he always wins or he always has the perfect technique to save the day. I mean, even when he loses, he either gets a power-up, gives up, or loses through some silly plot contrivance instead of actually just getting beaten down. He's always the focal point of the story and never suffers major consequences for his actions. On the flip side, Goku trains constantly, he works for everything he achieves, and he's not always the strongest. While Goku doesn't suffer devastating losses, he does lose, and acknowledge people as stronger than he is. So we're still in a tough spot, but I think the answer is right in front of us. Goku just has plot armor. I'm serious. The very plot and structure of DBZ work against him ever losing or facing major consequences for a loss. Let me break it down for you. First, Saiyan biology is very short-sighted from a narrative standpoint. Basically, every time you lose, you just get stronger, so there's no psychological component to defeat and growth. You're not beaten, you'll just come back and just beat the guy who beat you, no training required. I mean, Vegeta did this twice in one arc, against both Zarbon and the Ginyu Force. It takes the shame out of defeat, as the characters will likely never deal with a defeat long. So every time Goku is duped for being an idiot or too trusting, he's given a power-up instead of being chastised. Think about Captain Ginyu. He legitimately outsmarts Goku, so what does this lead to? Goku gets strong enough to fight Frieza after resting. So even when Goku loses, he's really just winning long-term. Second, death is a good thing for Goku too. It's in the same vein as the Super Saiyan power-up. Death is just a net positive for our hero. Goku is killed by Raditz only to train with King Kai. His death is the reason he's stronger than all the Z fighters in the Saiyan arc. And in the Buu saga, he's only able to master Super Saiyan 3 because of the odd effects of the afterlife on his body. Therefore, his death at the hands of Cell, again, made him the strongest fighter. Because even when he loses, to the point of death, he really just wins. So, if he's beaten in battle, he doesn't have to learn from his mistakes, he just gets stronger. And if he dies in battle, he also gets stronger. So there's no consequences for his actions. As a side note, he gets lost in space, only to find the Yardrax planet and learn instant transmission. So even in the 1 to million chance he hits a planet in the vacuum of space, Goku lands on a planet that will teach him an ultimate fighting technique to get him out of a ton of jams in the series. The sad fact is, the plot just won't let him lose. Third, DBZ is a linear power scale. Characters are measured on a point system, and the higher your points are, the stronger you are. Now, you can say that power levels are BS, and to an extent I agree that they are, but that's not really what I'm talking about. Every DBZ character gets powers in a non-varied function. So, the characters get stronger, faster, and more durable simultaneously, instead of independently. Thus, there are few, if any, strategic advantages for specialized characters, besides outright regeneration or absorption. And it really doesn't help that any character with special powers is normally defeated almost instantly, even when that character's power is absolutely OP. Goldo can stop time, but he's killed in his first fight. Vegeta can generate a false moon to transform into the Ozaru, but his tail's cut off in the same fight he uses the technique in, rendering his Ozaru form useless. Ginyu can switch bodies, but his power doesn't work because he doesn't know how to use Goku's body. Dude, Ginyu's whole shtick is switching bodies. Why would he not know how to use a foreign person's body? Wouldn't the learning curve be, like, non-existent or something? I don't know. Frieza can breathe in space, but this is never used to great effect as he merely is rebuilt and defeated again. The only powers of use in the story are regeneration and absorption, and the reason for this is simple. Brute force solves everything in Dragon Ball Z. Regeneration is useful because it allows the user to tank hits, and absorption is useful because it allows people to steal power, which again is defined as strength, speed, dexterity, constitution, and ki blast strength. The problem with this model and storytelling is that there's no way for a character to specialize. Remember Burger from the Ginyu Force? How he always said he was the fastest in the universe? Well, what if he was? I mean, Goku was simultaneously faster, stronger, and more durable than he is, but imagine if Goku was just stronger, or maybe more durable. Wouldn't it make for an interesting fight, as Goku wouldn't be able to just power through his opponents? Maybe he'd have to catch Burter off guard or predict his attack patterns. They do a little bit of this in the hit fight though, so this doesn't really hold up in Super that much. It holds up in a lot of Super though. You could play on the fact that Goku's strength and Saiyan DNA took a backseat to his intelligence. What if an opponent like Oolong could shapeshift into different species of aliens, giving him new powers? But unfortunately, almost every original power is useless compared to the raw power of Goku and the Saiyans. Notice too, all the key attacks have the same function in the narrative. The Kamehameha is supposed to be special or the most powerful thing. However, it functions pretty much the same as the Makankosafo, the Big Bang Attack, or the Masenko, especially by the end of the series. The only notable exception was Krillin's Destructo Disc, as an opponent has to dodge it. Even an opponent extremely stronger than him, like Nappa, oh wait, nope, Cell just dodges it. Yep, Nappa and Frieza were just weird exceptions. You could just be strong enough to tank the Destructo Disc, never mind. So all these factors combined, what do you get? There's no way for Goku to lose. Look at it this way. If you beat him, he only gets stronger. If you kill him, he only gets stronger. And there's no special techniques that aren't beatable by raw power, which is what Goku gets every time he trains, is defeated, or is killed. So what's the conclusion? Goku... is he a Mary Sue or not? Well, Goku is not a perfect character. And I really don't think he's a Mary Sue or a Marty Stew or whatever you want to call it. He's naive, silly, trusting, and often a terrible judge of character. Goku loses over and over to stronger opponents, and half the time he has to rely on help to win. Many of Goku's achievements are based on training and hard work, and his powers don't always come easy. What Goku is a victim of a narrative stacked in his favor. I think the term Mary Sue or Marty Stew is just a way to write off a complicated issue. If Dragon Ball Z had more dimensions to combat and no Zenkai boost, or maybe make death an actual negative thing, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But here we are. This is a case of an artist writing themselves into a hole from which they have no escape. I don't even really see how in the universe of Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super you could have a stronger character than Goku. I mean, he's battling deities right now because they have to constantly up the stakes, and he's only going to train or die or whatever just to get stronger than whoever he's fighting right now. And if you're creating a world, make sure it doesn't trap your characters in it. Make sure there's always a way to play with the narrative, and write your way out of a logic loop. This is a hugely important lesson for shonens coming down the road, and for any young author that's looking at writing. Now, for the record, I like Goku. He's a fun character, but he's trapped in a contrived plot. Well, that's my 2 cents. Do you like Goku? Do you hate him? Do you have some third opinion that no one will care about? Please continue the conversation below, and if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell to get updated on all our videos.